There's some absolutely horrendous flooding going on in Texas after Hurricane Harvey battered the coasts. And The Hill has a story in relation to this. Now, I want to show you some pictures again of Hurricane Harvey here and the fallout. So it was a Category 4 hurricane when it made landfall. You know, Texas just got absolutely hammered. And then the storm surge and the rain is probably the most destructive part of this and the most dangerous part of this. Because so you have the rising water levels, but then on top of that, you have just gallons of rain being dumped on Texas here, specifically Houston and that region, that area. And we're talking about, no joke, 40 to 50 inches of rain. We're talking about 3 years worth of rain in a week. That's unconscionable. That's ridiculous. And the pictures that are coming, there are pictures that I was convinced were fakes that turned out to be real. They're like these older folks in a senior citizen center, and they're sitting in water waiting to be rescued. It looked fake. I was convinced it was fake. Turns out it was totally real. Unbelievable images. You know, people, there's already been at least 5 deaths, and I'm guessing that number is going to tick up. I mean, there was not a mandatory evacuation of the Houston area, but there should have been. There 100% should have been. So now, you know, people have lost their homes. You have things flooding that people never would have imagined would have flooded. And it really goes to show you how Mother Nature's a cruel, cold bitch. And that any time, you know, what you think is safe and sacred, gone. And then a lot of people couldn't evacuate, and I've seen just, you know, tear-jerking stories on this. People don't have the money. They don't have the fucking money. You know, it's not easy to just pick up and go. Okay, we'll go spend a week in a hotel. Well, some people don't have that money to spend a week in a hotel. So you got to try to stay back and fight through it, and they do that, and then they end up having to be rescued because the situation is way worse than anybody imagined. So my heart certainly goes out to everybody in Texas. My thoughts are with them, the ones who are just drastically affected by this. And, yeah, it's crazy to see the images. And we had something somewhat similar here with Sandy. You know, my power was out for over a week with Sandy, but I'm one of the lucky ones that only had to deal with the power being out for over a week, because there are people, you know, on Staten Island, for example, people on the coast who just lost everything. They lost everything was destroyed. So this is, it's terrible, man. It's terrible. Now, here's what The Hill says about this in a related story. Republican Texas Senators John Cornyn and Ted Cruz pressed President Trump in a letter on Friday to grant Governor Greg Abbott's request for a major disaster declaration for the state as Hurricane Harvey nears its coast. Given the potential catastrophic impact that the hurricane may have on Texas communities, we strongly support this request and urge you to provide any and all emergency protective measures available by a major disaster declaration, the senator said. Harvey is expected to be the first Category 3 hurricane to make landfall in the United States since 2005. This obviously was written just before, and the first to hit Texas since 1999. The pair voted against a disaster relief package after Hurricane Sandy slammed the U.S. East Coast in 2013, causing severe damage to the region. Cruz said at the time he voted against the package because it was filled with spending that was unrelated to storm relief. Okay, now that last part, not true. In fact, at the time, I remember John Daly, of The Daily Show. Jon Stewart of The Daily Show. John Daly's a golfer. Jon Stewart of The Daily Show holding up the bill on air that the Republican senators voted against. You know how many pages it was? 1. It wasn't, a pork-laden bill, and oh my God, what are we talking about here? This is crazy. Cut out all the nonsense. Stop loading this up with special giveaways. No, it was an emergency relief bill that was 1 page long that was just to release the power of the federal government to aid and assist, to help the people who are struggling in New York and elsewhere on the East Coast from Hurricane Sandy. They voted against it. Now, what's my take on, hey, should the federal government be released to help people in Texas for Hurricane Harvey? My take is, hell yes, they should. I vote yes on that immediately, instantly. Send everything we got. This is exactly why the federal government is supposed to exist. Hey, your fellow citizens are fucking drowning in insane flooding that, is a once in 100-year thing. Hell yeah, I want my tax money. I want all the resources we have. I want rescue teams. I want food aid. I want medical aid. I want everything we got. We should throw it at Texas right now. Right now. I would vote yes on that in an instant. But that's why they should have also done the same fucking thing for Hurricane Sandy in New York. And this, unfortunately, is part and parcel of this modern age DC elite Republican philosophy. If it doesn't affect me directly, it doesn't fucking count. How many times have we seen this with gay marriage? Republicans who are 100% against gay marriage, then, oh, would you look at that? I found out my daughter or my son is gay. Anyway, as I say, I'm against gay marriage. I think that people should have a right to be happy and they should be able to get married no matter what their sexual orientation is. So before it affected you directly, yeah, fuck it. I don't care if it's your kid. When it's my kid, oh my God, now I care. How can the world be so cruel? Gotta allow gay marriage. When it's somebody else's kid, fuck you. I don't give a shit. Dick Cheney that happened with. Rob Portman that happened with. We've seen this time and time again. Chris Christie, same thing. When it came to the federal government helping out New Jersey. Yeah, I don't need no damn stinking federal government in here. We can take care of anything we want. It says, oh my God, a hurricane hit. Federal government, I want 100% reimbursement for what we're spending to help with the hurricane. What happened, big guy? I thought you were small government. Yeah, get the feds out of here until you needed help. Then you say, oh yes, federal government, please come help me. And these guys say, yeah, if it's people on the fucking East Coast, yeah, whatever. They can take care of that by themselves. Pull themselves up by their bootstraps. I'm against the aid package for Hurricane Sandy. Oh, now there's a hurricane hitting us in a super similar situation. Oh, federal government, please come help me. Look, the bottom line is we are all Americans. I don't give a shit if you are far right or far left or somewhere in the middle. I could disagree with you on literally everything. You could be a deep insider Washington, D.C. douchebag. If your fucking house is underwater because of a natural disaster, I'm gonna vote for relief funds to try to help you out. Because I'm a decent human being and we're all Americans. I would hope the same reaction from you the next time there's a natural disaster that happens to affect a liberal enclave like New York. Because that's what goes on in their minds. They go, you know what? That doesn't affect me. That doesn't affect people of Texas. And on top of that, they're just liberal New Yorkers. It's not the real America. Real America, the heartland of America is in the middle of the country. So, fuck them. Forget about it. No. If you're making decisions as to whose life gets saved and who gets necessary disaster relief based on a political litmus test, then you're a fucking monster. And that goes for people across the spectrum. I don't want to hear anybody on the left talking about, oh, well, maybe more people in Texas should believe in climate change, or maybe they should have voted for Democratic politicians, and blah, 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 blah. All of that is fucking irrelevant. When somebody's in this kind of trouble, we give them help. Period. End of discussion. That's what Americans are supposed to do. So I don't want to see any more of these garbage fucking votes from these loathsome cretins. Help me when it affects me in my state, but fuck the New Yorkers and fuck the people in New Jersey and fuck people elsewhere, California, wherever the case is. No, we all come together when there's a tragedy and we help each other out. And ideology is fucking irrelevant. And the fact that they couldn't realize that is beyond pathetic and disgusting.